So the iPhone frustrates us, it limits us, they overcharge us, and somehow we still call it our favorite phone. We know the flaws, we know the price, and we still smash pre-order like it's a national holiday. Owning an iPhone is basically like buying the same car every year because they added a new cup holder. Sure, it's technically better, but deep down we know we're still driving the same thing. Today, I'm breaking down everything wrong with the iPhone. And there is a flip side, everything right with the iPhone video that should already be up on the channel by the time you watch this. I'll link it to all the places. All right, so let's talk about the big one, price and the Apple tax. Apple somehow made $1,000 phones feel normal. They didn't just move the goalposts, they tore them out of the ground and then rebuilt where they used to be. So back in 2007, the original iPhone, the very first one, launched at $499, and that was subsidized by a multi-year contract. So I went through and adjusted that for inflation. That would be about $740 today. In 2025, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the most expensive version, starts at just under $1,200. The regular iPhone 16, $800, and they're feeling budget-friendly, the 16e at $600, because apparently budget now just means only one kidney required. What you actually get for that money, you get a phone, a cable, and then a reminder to buy everything else for yourself. No charger, no case, no headphones. If you want basic survival gear for your $1,200 device, you're looking at another $150, $200 easy if you don't already have those things. The iPhone's not a product anymore. It's becoming a microtransaction machine. You get the phone, and then you unlock essential features, one $49 accessory at a time. Every year, iOS promises to change our lives. Tim Cook gets on stage and tells us we're gonna get smarter features, clear notifications, mind-blowing AI, and every year, you dig through a settings menu, it looks like a choose-your-own-adventure novel written by lawyers. In 2024, so last year, Apple introduced Apple Intelligence. You knew this was coming. They are pitching it as sort of the moment iPhones would finally feel smart. Except most of it didn't actually launch. It's still coming soon or coming later or coming at some point if you upgrade your phone to the right phone. Also cross your fingers, the whisper and a prayer to Tim Cook. It was predictable. Speaking of predictable patterns, iOS 26 was just announced, and surprise, nothing revolutionary there either, just more incremental tweaks and kind of packaged as groundbreaking innovation. Meanwhile, Siri, who was supposed to be the star pupil of this whole revolution, struggling with basic tasks. Set a timer, great. Search your photos for that one screenshot from last Tuesday, might work. Ask her to send a text message to your mom, somehow she'll interpret that as play death metal at maximum volume. Apple's been promising Siri improvements for over a decade. And at this point, Apple basically is just giving her a fancy clipboard and hope we wouldn't notice that she still can't find anything. Speaking of things that don't work properly, notifications. Even simple notifications are an absolute mess. Grouped sometimes, depending on your settings, random sometimes, important things lost under a pile of push alerts asking if you still want, at least in my case, 10% off pants at the Gap. iOS handles notifications the way a raccoon handles a kitchen, enthusiastically, but with zero regard for organization. But they don't have the cool little raccoon hands. Every year, Apple says, better battery life, it's even better, which sounds great until you realize better compared to the year that they made it worse. Most iPhones are still living the 80-20 life. You get through 80% of your day and spend the final 20% panic managing your screen time like you're sort of rationing supplies during an apocalypse. Maybe that might be me in my use case, but I'm asking this every day around 6 o'clock. Should I open Instagram? Should I save the last 10% to call an Uber home? At least for me, I haven't been able to have both, so pick wisely. And I do know that battery life is very subjective and mostly depends on your third-party app usage. But when my Android friends are cruising through 2 days while I'm hunting for outlets like a digital vampire, something's not adding up. Which brings us to the bigger question. If Apple is so focused on innovation, why are we still dealing with these basic problems? So Tim Cook famously said, I can't do it with his accent, but he said, we believe deeply in innovation. And sure, the iPhone keeps getting minor updates, but it's starting to feel like innovation Apple style just means rearranging the furniture. Dynamic islands? cool idea, but basically a prettier way to show notifications. Action button, awesome, but in all fairness, Android phones have had customizable buttons since the original Motorola Droid in 2009. Always on display, revolutionary. If you can just look the other way, that Samsung's had it since 2016. Even the design is stuck in a time loop. The iPhone 16 looks suspiciously like an iPhone 15, which looks suspiciously like a lot like the 14, a lot like the 13. You get the idea. At this point, the biggest innovation might be changing the camera lens arrangement slightly so people can tell that you bought the new one. Meanwhile, foldable phones are becoming mainstream, and Apple's still perfecting the art of making rectangles slightly more rectangular. Another thing, every year we get told that this is the toughest iPhone yet. Every year takes one decent drop onto concrete or one jerry everything video for your back glass to look like it lost a knife fight. And sure, it's tough against small scratches, and I will give Apple credit for that. But one bad fall, that'll be $599 to fix the back glass on like an iPhone 15 Pro Max, or $379 for a screen replacement. Unless you paid for Apple Care, like you're insuring some family heirloom. Real-world durability does not match the marketing hype. And the fact that back glass repairs cost more than half of the price of many Android flagships, that's not durability. That's job security for Apple Store repair techs. And compare that to phones like the Galaxy S24 Ultra or even budget options that, at least in my experience, survive drops more than an iPhone would. You can start to see a problem with that. And again, drops and glass are all totally subjective. If you have cases on it, you don't have to worry. But it does get expensive to fix these things that do happen. And also, there's one more thing about those expensive repairs. They're just another symptom of Apple's need to control every aspect of your experience. Sure, Apple now, and they do, allow you to do some in-home repairs, and third-party shops can get parts, but I just want to be real about what that actually means. In-home repair process requires clunky machines and procedures that make brain surgery look simple, and repair shops do get parts. Good luck knowing if their OEM components are just Apple-proof substitutes or just some knockoff parts. Independent repair techs still get locked out by software restrictions, especially with official parts. It's like Apple's telling us you can fix your own car, but only with proprietary tools and mystery parts and a 47-step instructional manual written in hieroglyphics. Even when you own the device, Apple still decides the terms of how and when you can fix it. So back to iOS, it is getting slightly better at customization. But I don't want to get too crazy or ahead of myself. You can move apps around now, even change the fonts on the clock, revolutionary stuff, but real freedom is not even close. You want a completely custom home screen? Good luck. Android users have had Nova Launcher, custom widgets, and complete icon pack since I think about 2012. Want to set your default apps for everything? Android's been there since day one. Want to install apps from other sources in the official store? Welcome to 2008 on Android. And sideloading apps, technically you can sideload apps if you're in the EU, but only because Apple was legally forced to allow it after fighting tooth and nail. Everywhere else, Apple still treats sideloading like a felony, complete with moats, lasers, and an army of pop-up warnings if you think about straying outside of the App Store. It's like being allowed to paint your house only with Apple-approved colors, and only if you buy the paint from Apple, then only if you let Apple inspect your brushstrokes. Saying this out loud, Apple's like your HOA. Apple is the HOA of phone companies. But here's what it comes down to. Apple has built the most successful phone in history by convincing us that limitations are luxuries. They've turned, you can't do that, into a selling point. Pay more for less into premium positioning, and trust us, we know better, into a business model worth trillions. And the iPhone could be incredible. The hardware is there, the engineering talent is there, but Apple seems more interested in protecting their walled garden than unleashing their phone's true potential. They've mastered the art of giving us just enough innovation to justify the upgrade, just enough customization to sort of quiet the complaints, and just enough repairability to avoid regulation. All the while keeping us kind of locked in their ecosystem, paying premium prices for basic features that, for all fairness, should have been standard years ago. And the most frustrating part, we all know this. Every iPhone user is aware of this. We see the overpricing, the artificial limitations, the recycled innovations. maybe just me, but I complain about it. I make jokes about it. I make videos about it. Then September rolls around and I'm refreshing the Apple Store at 5 a.m. because maybe this time is gonna be different. So maybe the real innovation isn't in the iPhone at all. Maybe it's Apple's ability to make us fall in love with our own Stockholm syndrome. And before anybody thinks that I'm just an Apple hater over here again, there's a flip side to this video. Everything right with the iPhone, because honestly, there's a reason these things still dominate the market despite all these issues. So again, I will link that out anywhere if you want to see the full picture. Did I hit your points? If you've switched away from iPhone, why? Let me know in the comments. Give the video a thumbs up, we appreciate it. And again, the flip side of this will be up or linked depending on which video goes up first.